You started.
No, I do.
Okay.
You
All
and
right.
Resolution. I was trying to.
I can't.
I know.
do them. It's not.
Only done it 3 times.
So what are the? I'm hoping you'll get
I've only
one
done this
more.
once.
Okay, nice to meet you.
I almost didn't come.
Sorry, just one more second.
That's not, you just never know. Right, yeah. I didn't know.
Okay, all right, we're live. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Today is Friday, January 6th at 1 p.m. Welcome to the first meeting of 2023 for the Orange Township Board of Trustees. I call this meeting to order. Trustee Grumbles.
Here.
Trustee Knapp.
Here.
Trustee Faust.
Here.
Okay, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to do some organizational business, and the first item is to appoint a chair for the Board of Trustees. So I open the floor for nominations for chairperson of the Board of Trustees.
I feel I'd like to nominate Trustee Faust as the chair for 2023. She came aboard due to all of the shifts with the election last year. We nominated her based on her reputation, her work history, qualifications. Been nothing short of spectacular trustee. Has established relationships with all the functional groups, other political entities, the county, townships. Has applied herself in the first year to really learn and support the township. Everyone I've spoken to has spoken highly of her, the interactions they've had. I know that she has wonderful relationships from her tenure in the township as well, but just above and beyond. And then, the other thing I do want to note is this is an election year, right? And I think this is a great way to allow the community more access to Trustee Faust and what she brings to the table, and just strongly support her as chair.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes.
Okay, then I open the floor for nominations for vice chair of the Board of Trustees.
I'd like to nominate Lisa Knapp.
And I'll second that.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Okay,
And if I can just say, Trustee Knapp, I appreciate you serving as vice chair while I was the chair. I was the chair for 2 years, so I'm excited to not talk so much. It'll be
We're excited for that.
I know you are. But I wanted to thank you for your support and the experience you bring to the township. It's just a wonderful balance right now with we've been able to disagree at times and I think move along and recover from that, and just really happy with the team, the progress we're making, and appreciate you continuing to support as us new folks grow, right? You've got quite a background in the township, so less tenured. How about that? Is that more palatable? So, well, thank you both, and turn it over to Trustee Faust. Here we go.
Thank you. And I agree with everything Ben said. Lisa, I very much appreciate your wisdom and your experience and knowledge and how you guide us as well. So thank you for all your service. Okay, so we have some exciting announcements today. We have a 100-year birthday announcement of one of our residents here in the community. One of our residents, Peter DeGaia, let me know a couple of weeks ago that his neighbor, Mrs. D. Dill, was turning 100 years old on December 31st. And so we wanted to bring her to the township, to our meeting here, and just say thank you for living in the community for so long, for raising your family here. My understanding is your family is all raising generations here in the community, and just thank you for being a part of our township. I know it's changed a lot in the time you've lived here, so thanks for sticking with us, even with all the change, and for the wisdom I'm sure that you have provided many, many residents here. So we have a little bit of gifts, and so if you wanted to come up for pictures, that would be lovely. This says, in recognition of 100th birthday honoring Dolores Dill, it's a great pleasure to send you best wishes and warmest congratulations on the occasion of your 100th birthday. So, happy birthday. A picture of John.
Yeah, I'll put it right there. It's right there for now.
There we go. Oh, you want, are you good? All right, good. Happy birthday. Thank you.
Aw, that's awesome.
I was actually lucky enough to have lunch in 2019 at the Dill residence with the family and give me their insights into the township when I was getting ready for my first term. And wonderful family. They've got deep roots here. They're engaged, vocal, and we need more residents like that, honestly, even if we disagree at times or what have you. The engagement in the community is critical for us to do a good job. So thank you for raising such engaged members of the community. I think over the years we've had a lot of participation in the township from them. So thank you again.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank the Dill family for being so active and involved over the years. There's very few major zoning issues they haven't been involved in and come in and give their opinion, and we really appreciate that feedback.
Most recently, Mr. and Mrs. Ross helped us out with our holiday event. I will not say what part they played, but they were an integral part to the holiday event.
And some zoning too.
Zoning, yep. Mrs. Ross, there was
Good participation. So thank you.
Thank you. Turn it over to Chief McNeil real quick.
Thank you, Board. So this morning I want to take a moment to do employee recognition. Not many people may know that I did this, except for many of the firefighters. However, there's this program called through Firehouse Magazine, which is a national magazine for the fire department, called the Emergency Vehicle Technician of the Year award. So I did put but this is not Colonel Sanders. I know it's confusing, but this is Mr. Bill Worley, who is the fire apparatus mechanic for the township. But if you weren't aware, and I'm sure you are, but as far as the public, the residents, he does a lot more than just what working at the fire department, trying to fix our vehicles, from working in Delaware County as a whole, helping out with other communities, but also helping out with maintenance trucks, other township vehicles. And then, the biggest thing for us that we see is not only the cost savings of sending it downtown, but the fact that you hear other departments waiting on their vehicles for 30 days just to get evaluated before they even fix it. We're getting our vehicles turned around in a day or two because of Mr. Worley. So I did submit him for the Firehouse Magazine EBT of the Year, and then they sent back a certificate of his nomination. They also have in the packet, I have the letter that was sent by the director of the EBT program with a personal note on there to Mr. Worley. And we have the Firehouse Magazine that has his name in it. And unfortunately, he did not get in the top 4. However, if you look at the locations, we are the smallest location on there. All of them are Palm Beach and a lot of big departments that have 600 vehicles. So but the fact is that we want to make sure that he is honored, because what he means to us is a lot more than what probably, I don't want to take away from these other agencies, but they probably have a lot of other maintenance people helping them. He's the one and only. So we do appreciate everything he does for us.
We do, definitely. And I was over in his department a couple weeks ago, and he was working on a truck from one of the other townships. And so the support that you give to our county as a whole is huge. And obviously we get the bulk of your service. So we thank you for that. So I wanted to read a little bit of the letter that Chief McNeil wrote to submit for his nomination. It says, in Orange Township Fire Department alone, his efforts have saved an average of $100,000 per year in repair and maintenance, a savings of 48% since he started. Even more substantial is the reduction of vehicle downtime by 85%. Prior to Mr. Worley's employment, vehicles could sit longer than 30 days waiting to be fixed. However, his dedication has ensured that even big jobs can be done in less than a week. Most importantly, Mr. Worley represents the character that any organization desires. His integrity and work ethic are second to none. Mr. Worley is committed to getting the job done efficiently, safely, and resourcefully. His innovativeness has deterred many hefty costs, including a recent $37,000 outside quote that he completed for a couple thousand. Mr. Worley's selflessness has been paramount to the township. And when there are no fire trucks to be fixed, or on a weekend, he's assisted the roads and grounds department with snow plowing. I'm sure, I don't know if you helped in the most recent storm, but thank you for any storms that you have helped in, and obviously keeping all of our trucks, no matter what kind they are, on the road. So thank you for your service and for everything you have done. Okay, we'll do another picture.
Another one.
You want to hang out with us?
Thank you, Florida Fire Department, for supporting him and coming to support this.
Thanks, Bill.
And thanks for helping outside of your primary function too, Bill. I think that's a huge. I actually met him when he was working at the community garden. So he definitely applies himself, and that's rare these days, so appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. So the next fun thing that we have to talk about tonight is this afternoon are the winners of the first Orange Township Light Fight, which is the community may or may not have been aware of. We had a house decorating contest throughout the township, and we had, Sydney, 16 homes participate, then plus our 2 fire stations were on. Sydney broke it up into 2 different routes, and it was really fun. Lots of great feedback on families who drove around to look at the lights. So we had 4 different categories that were voted on. How many votes did we have? 519 votes overall for 16 houses. So the Griswold winner was Brad Prim,
Here today.
who is here today. So your house was super fast.
Representing Glen Oak.
It was. He had all this like LED things and music and all that kind of stuff. So we spent a fair amount of time sitting outside your house.
Congesting Glen Oak for a good month. Thank you for
trying to
that.
figure
As
out
a
if
neighbor.
it had screens on the roof above the garage or if it was see-through. So we wanted to come back in the day and like figure out how you did it all, but it was really cool.
It's every holiday too. You have quite a. You do Halloween pretty big too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was super great. So congratulations. Our Kids' Choice winner were Mike and Connie Simmons. That was, can I give the street?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was on Parkland Court. That one's over off of in Oak Creek. That's where that one is. The People's Choice winner was Scott Forshee, which is on Cold Harbor Boulevard. So that was another one with music and all sorts of stuff moving and all that kind of stuff. And then our Trustee's Choice winner is Eric Gertzenberger, which is on Baltic Avenue. And so that was one that, as I described to Sydney, is like Christmas vomited on their front lawn. So it was all these statues. It wasn't blow-ups, but it was all these big. I mean, it's so nice, right? Y'all voted me as chair. Sorry.
How does Christmas? Is it like ho,
intentional?
Ho, ho?
Right. It was all these things that you could drive by during the day or in the evening, and you could see all the stuff. So it was super great. So that's why that one was our choice. That one got the most votes from the 3 of us. So those were everything. Sydney, do we want to pass out?
Yes, since Brad's here. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think we should do another picture.
I do too. I feel like we have to.
All the pictures.
Yeah. And you can leave this in your yard. So we'll do this again. Great. We'll do this again next year, so you can put this in your design next year, and people will know that last year.
See what the light right next year.
Now you got to go after the people's choice, and then you can be the people's champ, right? That's great.
Two-time winner.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The giant belt with a Christmas light in the middle. That's it.
We should go after that TV show.
Okay, do we have any public comment? Okay, so do we have any agenda changes?
I don't think there was any other general announcements unless you guys had anything in particular.
I just wanted to clarify when I opened the floor for the chair and vice chair, those were resolutions 23-001 and 23-002.
And then as far as agenda changes go, I do have two things under agenda changes. The first is I'd like to add an executive session regarding economic development assistance, and then we do have an additional consent item for emergency management apportionments.
Okay, so now we're gonna go into our annual organizational business meeting where we go through a bunch of things quickly. Okay, so first we have to determine when our meetings are going to be for 2023. And my understanding is that we are looking at Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that works for everybody? Okay.
So question on that, is it the first and third or the second and fourth Wednesdays? First and third?
The next meeting will be the 3rd then, right?
Yes, so the next meeting would be
The 3rd week.
the
The 18th.
18th.
We're glad it's my birthday.
Happy birthday to Ben.
I think this is the 3rd year in a row we've had a meeting on my birthday.
That's exciting.
Because it's moved Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, so 3 p.m. on the 18th. This is the next meeting. Okay.
And luckily on Wednesdays, there's no holidays that it impacts, so it would be Wednesdays for the year.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 22-003 in the matter of establishing a reasonable method whereby the public may determine the time and place of all regularly scheduled meetings of the board and the time and place and purpose of all special and emergency meetings of the board. Do I say that it's Wednesdays at 3 p.m.? The first and third.
Did you say 2022 or 2023 meetings?
2023 meetings?
Okay.
Thank you.
The resolution number.
23-003.
Okay.
Thank you.
And those will be the first and third Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Here at Township Hall. Okay. I have a second. Second.
Mr. Grumbles,
Yes.
Ms. Knapp,
Yes.
Mrs. Faust.
Yes. Okay. Next, we need to determine a member of the General Health Advisory Council. Trustee Knapp, you were doing that before. Do you want to continue with that?
Yes, I would.
Great. Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-004, appoint Lisa Knapp as a member to the General Health Advisory Council.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles,
Yes.
Ms. Knapp,
Yes.
Mrs. Faust.
Yes. Now we need to determine a member of the Delaware County Revolving Loan Fund Committee. This is typically Mrs. Kraft. Thank you. Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-005 to appoint Lisa Kraft as a member of the Delaware County Revolving Loan Fund Committee.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles,
Yes.
Ms. Knapp,
Yes.
Mr. Faust, Mrs. Faust.
Yes.
Oh, I did that.
Okay. It's very totally fine. Okay, so now we need to determine, we're talking about the Zoning Commission Board. We need to reappoint Mr. Pierce, Leslie Pierce, as for the Zoning Commission Board. Was his term up?
Yes,
Okay.
it was. And that if we wanted to go through the other board, the zoning commission, Mark Freeman as the alternate his term was also up, and we'd like to renew that.
Okay, and can you remind me how long their terms are?
So for So regular zoning commission is for
5
5 years, and alternates. There's no certain amount of years. It's just recent practice we've done.
Okay.
3 years.
And I would point out both Mr. Pierce and Mr. Freeman, this is their first term that they finished somebody else's term, so this will be each of their first full term as regular and alternate respectively.
Because they're only going to have two full
Two full
terms,
terms,
correct?
correct.
Before,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And did we want to talk about the BZA also?
Sure, and just for a typo under Resolution 23-008, when the board is ready to consider that, it's for Board of Zoning Appeals, not Zoning Commission. And
Who's that one for?
that's for Stacy Neff.
Okay.
So she is currently an alternate member, and we would like to appoint her as a regular member to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
That's those three. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do those three. Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-006 to reappoint Leslie Pierce as a regular member to the Orange Township Zoning Commission.
second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-007 to reappoint Mark Freeman as an alternate member to the Orange Township Zoning Commission.
Does it have the number of years in there?
It does.
Does it? Okay, second or?
Yes, his term would expire in 2025.
Mr. Pierce has expired in 27.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay, I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-008 to appoint Stacy Neff as a regular member of the Board of Zoning Appeals for Orange Township.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Okay. So now we're talking about Regional Planning Commission, and Michelle Bonney, our administrator, has done this in the past. Michelle, are you good to do that again?
Yes.
Okay, and we had Brett Weinkin as our alternate. You still there?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-009 to appoint Michelle Bonney as the Regional Planning Representative.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-010, appoint Brent Weinkin as Regional Planning Alternative Representative.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles? Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay, now we have the Records Commission. Okay, and Michelle, typically that one's the chair and the administrator and our fiscal officer.
Yes, that is how we've done it.
Okay, do I read the whole thing, not just the underlying part?
No, I mean if the board is okay with that, these three individuals for the commission, then you can just read the title.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-011, Records Commission.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. And then our business office hours, we're going to keep those from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. 5 days a week.
Mhm.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-012, business hours, office hours.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay, the next one is our Gov Deals, which is where we sell any equipment, furniture, stuff that we are basically, that is at end of life for Orange Township.
Correct.
And we just have to, every year, have to say we're going to sell it through Gov Deals. Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-13, intent to sell by internet auction personal property, including motor vehicles, road machinery, equipment, tools, or supplies that is not needed for public use, is obsolete, or is unfit for the use for which it was acquired.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay, next one is the mileage rate. We're just accepting the standard mileage rate, which is 65.5 cents per mile, which has been approved federally.
Yes, and that did decrease recently.
Is that correct? Okay.
Increased. Wasn't it 58.5 last year?
I thought it increased. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Increased, excuse me.
Sorry.
It increased.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-14, 2023 mileage rate.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. And the next one is the pay period schedule, which was sent out through our HR department in the last couple weeks. Just acknowledging that we all have that. Resolution 23-0, I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-15, 2023 pay period schedule.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. The next one is our holidays for our non-union employees, recognizing that there are 12 for the year. I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-16, employee paid holidays 2023 for non-union employees.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Okay, reallocations. Mrs. Kraft, can you give us some?
Yeah, this basically gives us the ability to move money around within a fund as necessary. So, I mean, it still has to be on a pre-purchase via either purchase order or blanket, but it allows us to kind of reallocate appropriations at the level that you guys approve them at.
Okay, I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-17, reallocations.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Supplemental appropriations. Mrs. Kraft, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, we're allowed, if we have to change it, basically allowing us to change approved appropriations.
Okay. I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-18, supplemental appropriations.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes. Okay, next is one of our legal services that we use, Isaac Wiles. Michelle, remind me which one.
So the primary counsel with that firm is Brian Zetz.
Thank you. Okay, so I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-19, employing Township's attorneys Isaac Wiles and Burkholder LLC on an annual basis for the year 2023.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes.
And I know the board asked for Paul Lafayette's resolution. We're still working on that, so hopefully it comes soon. So apologize for that.
On,
For his legal services.
oh, okay.
His, right as of now, his rates are paid through our insurance, but in case we ever needed them for something separate, we'll get something in line.
And I do want to point out too, there was, we had discussed the legal services, trending legal services. We did have through November of last year, we're trending favorably year over year. We had a pretty big reduction over the prior year. So I want to thank the board for that. And it was a goal coming in, and we've had some, we can't control what other people do, we can control what we do, but I think we've been very good at partnering with firms that have reasonable rates and also using them smartly. I see that we're continuing to use the prosecutor's office, and so I know the numbers were,
I can do the math right now.
Yeah. What are the numbers?
I think it was 100.
So in 2020, do you want me to say how much we spent per
Yep.
year? Okay, so in 2021, we spent $216,352 in legal fees. In 2022, we spent $147,376 in legal fees, and that includes our contract negotiations with the fire department. So
Which is huge,
Yeah.
because that has, and Chief, again, thank you. We've spent a ton of money on that previously. So we reduced legal expenses by, over 60,000, so.
What was it in 2020? Do you know?
I don't have that,
I
Let's see
asked.
if I've got it.
I asked for it, so I can give that.
but I know the difference. So the difference between 2021 and 2022, we had a savings of about $68,975.
2020, if memory serves, was higher than 2021.
Probably should have.
It was, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to find the numbers.
So- Move in the right direction.
So now we're on to.
Okay, real quick, 2020 legal expenses were, the end of this big report, $254,448.62.
More than 100 grand less than we were 2 years ago.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's good.
Good-
Okay.
Good news story.
Yes. All right, so next is the consent agenda. Do we have any questions on this?
I have none.
Oh, I did have some. Sorry. Corson, Silas, what did we do? What did they do for us?
Your services, right?
Okay. Okay. And then EPS?
The security and monitoring system.
Okay. Then do I do that one and then the then and nows? Or do you always do these ones
I
together?
read them. I able to read them together.
Okay, so we're gonna do both together.
And if I could just, hats off to Silas and his team. They are doing the right thing here with these POs that are listed rather than just relying on blankets. When they know they're going to have a purchase, they're very good about putting POs in place. So for specific vendors, so we can accurately track that project cost. So
Transparency too.
you got it.
You're doing that, Silas.
Makes Trustee Knapp very happy.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-20, approving the electronic record of the proceedings of the regular meeting held on December 21st, 2022.
Second.
Do I have to read them both at the same time? Sorry. And I make a motion to approve Resolution 23-21, approving purchase orders, then and now purchase orders, and blanket purchase orders as listed.
So, are those separate resolutions?
I think they're separate resolutions.
Okay, so she would call roll on the first one.
Oh,
All right.
okay, sorry.
Well, they're both part of the consent agenda, so they just
You can do
have their.
however you want.
Yeah, are they both different?
They're separate resolutions.
If they're separate resolutions,
You want to
though.
do them separately?
Yeah, we
Okay.
should. Yeah.
Do I
Okay.
have to read them again?
No.
Nope. Mr. Grumbles.
Yes.
Ms. Knapp.
Yes.
Mrs. Faust.
Yes.
And I'll second Resolution 23-21.
Got it.
You seconded 21.
Do we need to call the roll for 21?
Yeah.
Yes. I seconded.
Mr. Grumbles.
Yes.
Ms. Knapp.
Yes.
Ms. Faust.
Yes. Okay. Now for the zoning meeting report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I dive into the hearings and meetings report, I would like to take a minute to introduce you all to Andrew Koenig, who is sitting behind me. Andrew is on day 4 of being our new Orange Township zoning inspector. So we are getting him up to speed. He is rocking and rolling and has the pleasure today of experiencing his first township trustee meeting.
Welcome.
Welcome to the team.
All right, for the zoning hearings and meetings report, it is a short one this month. We do have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting on Thursday, January 19th. There are 2 variances on that agenda that evening for 2 pools on separate properties that would encroach into the rear yard setbacks. There are no zoning commission meetings scheduled for January because we did not receive any applications. We are expecting one overlay application to come in the next month or 2. So there will be more in the pipeline soon, but nothing for the moment. The only zoning item on any agenda is the tabled Aldea application, and I have no updates on that at this time.
We didn't have anything on the operations report, or no? Okay. Chief, fire report.
The only thing I have here is to accept the donation. Dr. Warner.
And just wanted to let the public know we had swearing in ceremony for our new captain and our new lieutenant, and Trustee Knapp was able to be there and be a part of that. And I was able to watch the live stream a couple days later. It was a wonderful ceremony, and excited to have their families out and friends, and to thank you for your work and everybody at your department's work.
Yeah, the best one I've ever seen, actually. Not just because I was there, but, but it was very well organized. I in the past, a few years ago, it was kind of thrown together, so it was very professional. And Sydney and you did a great job, and everybody else getting everything together. Yeah, it was really nice.
Apologize that I wasn't able to make it, but I do want to thank you for being there.
Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. It was enjoyable.
The one previous where we had all the new hires and everything, I mean, it was similar and you did a great job too. So
Yeah, that
I
was
just-
good too.
really formalizing and changing the culture, and it's just another.
Well, I'll launch.
It's awesome.
Let us know. Thank you. Okay, fiscal?
Do we need to do the
Accept
resolution?
it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve Resolution 23-22, acknowledge and accept donation.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Fowles?
Yes. Okay, now fiscal.
Okay, just a couple things. A couple liquor license items that we need a consensus on. One is for Bento's Lunch, which was previously Taranto's. And the other is for Sheets. It's Ohio Springs doing business as Sheets. And then the next one, we were talking with the local government services person about how to show the planned advances in and out for appropriations, how to kind of secure that. And they came back and said, well, you don't need to appropriate it. So this is just correcting those things. So what we had done is we have advances coming in from general to, let's say, parks, knowing parks is going to be getting a grant to pay that, and then it advances back out into general. And they said we didn't have to appropriate it. So this is just reducing the appropriations by the amount of those advances.
So figuring out. Do we,
We're figuring all this out. It's good that we have money coming in like this. So
or do we need to hold a hearing for the liquor license?
No.
do I have everybody's consensus then?
Yes.
Okay,
On
thank
both.
you.
For both of them, correct? Right. Okay.
So I don't have to read anything with that, right?
Nope.
Okay, all right, then we do make a motion to approve Resolution 23-23, revising and or increasing permanent appreciations established in Resolution 22-384.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Fowles?
Yes. All right, Ms. Bonnie?
All right. I will have Mr. Kremnitzer do the first 200 administrative report, and I'll wrap up the last one.
Afternoon, Board. What we have is pretty straightforward. The first one is a sick leave transfer of 360 hours for Sun Dang. And then the second one for Sun Dang as well is a transfer of his full-time township service at his prior employment.
And my understanding is that Sun is one of our chefs in the fire department, right, Chief? When I've been over there a couple of times, he's always been cooking and making his coworkers quite happy, so. Good cooks.
We like food here.
We do. Okay, we'll do these resolutions. Make a motion to approve Resolution 23-24, accepting transfer of 360 hours of sick leave to the credit of firefighter pandemic Sundang.
Second?
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Fowles?
Yes. Make a motion to approve Resolution 23-25, recognizing prior full-time Ohio Township service of Sundang for the purpose of vacation accrual calculation.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Fowles?
Yes.
Okay, under the last item under administrative report, I just wanted to give the board an update on our records commission meeting that we held last year. And the board or the commission reviewed our newly revised retention schedule that we're hoping to submit to the Ohio History Connection in the near future. It's soon to be in legal's hands. I think we're making a few last touches from the department heads. But just, again, I don't know if anyone had questions, but the goal with the new retention schedule is to allow for digital form for many of our files, as that's currently not allowed. A lot of our neighboring townships have done that recently, so we kind of piggybacked off of their retention schedule. And with the document conversion services we are in contract with 3SG, hopefully those files that we are scanning, we can keep the digital file as our permanent record.
How's that going?
It is in slowly but surely. It's in zoning stages first, so we're doing it by department. And zoning has, we believe, the most files that have to be permanent. So they are in the scanning process on that. I believe they've done one batch, two batches.
No,
Second batch, which is over 50 boxes at this point of documents. So
And are these drawings?
it can be, yeah. It's the permits, plans. I think it's just permitting the permits for now. So
Yeah, their facility's pretty neat.
Mhm.
They can do the big stuff, anything. They even do like document protection. If they get like, they had some very old documents. That was pretty impressive.
And it's very hands-on. I mean, there's individuals that like double check every page, make sure it's not sticking together. They pull out the staples. It's a very timely process. So it's glad that we have them in contract.
We've been working on that since like 1999, I think.
That year, huh?
So many things like on your bucket list that you're just
I know.
knocking
Check,
out.
check, check.
Yeah.
Check.
What next?
And that's all I have under the administrative report. Thank you.
Then we can make a motion to enter into executive session.
Yes.
And make a motion to approve resolution 23-26 and enter into executive session. Do I read this?
Yes, you
Okay.
do need to read
Okay,
it.
pursuant to revised code 121.22G8 for the purpose of considering confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance that is directly related to a request for economic development assistance that is to be provided or administered under revised code 715, 5709.73 to 5709.75, and or revised code 715. The executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant, or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with a proposed economic development project. Those invited to attend are trustees, fiscal officer, and our administrator.
All right, thank you.
And do I read the whole paragraph again?
No, just to return to executive session.
Okay.
Or it's regular session, excuse me.
Right.
All right, we're on.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to approve resolution 23-27, return to regular session.
Second. Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes?
Mrs. Faust?
Yes? We're going to reread the meeting schedule resolution. I make a motion to approve resolution 23-3 in the matter of establishing a reasonable method whereby the public may determine the time and place of all regularly scheduled meetings of the board and the time and place and purpose of all special and emergency meetings of the board.
Second.
And that's the first and third Wednesdays at 3 o'clock.
You seconded it, Ben?
Yes, Ben seconded.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp? Yes. Mrs. Faust?
Yes.
And that's all I have today.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
I make a motion to approve resolution 23-28, meeting adjourned.
Second.
Mr. Grumbles?
Yes.
Ms. Knapp?
Yes.
Mrs. Faust?
Yes.